Good afternoon, everyone, and we will call the quarterly board meeting of the Tennessee Board of Regents to order. Welcome all, and a profound thanks to Nashville State for the hospitality. To Interim President Dr. McCormick and our incoming President Dr. Jackson, thank you. You all have made us feel so welcome, and this is an incredible facility that we've all had a chance to experience for a while this morning. We also had a traditional Nashville lunch of hot fried chicken from Hattie B's, no less. So we are off to a good start this afternoon. Hear, hear. Great job, everybody. I do want to mention on a sad note as we begin, some of you I think may be aware, our friend Sonja Mason is not here today, our board secretary. Her brother passed away a couple of days ago. I believe the funeral service is tomorrow, and she is with family today, of course, for visitation and other family time. Keep her in your thoughts. I know the Chancellor's office would be happy to send you her home address if you would like to write her a note. But she is, of course, very special to us. Her brother, she said, was, I think, her closest sibling. So they shared a very special relationship, as brothers and sisters hopefully always do. So Sonja, you are in our thoughts and prayers at this sad time for your family. Thank you all. It is also my pleasure to introduce, and I think most of our board has had a chance to meet Miles, at least on the telephone by now, if not in person, and that's our newest regent, Miles Burdine, who comes to us from the 1st Congressional District. Miles is a person of tremendous integrity. He is a great addition already to this board. I've known him for 24 years. Wow. I know, I shouldn't have said that out loud. He is a native of Kingsport, and as a true son of Northeast Tennessee, he has worked for many years as the president of the Kingsport Chamber of Commerce. So he is a great example of the fine folks in the 1st Congressional District and deeply committed to community. So committed, in fact, that I will not even begin to read to you this tremendous litany of service he has provided both to his community and across our great state. And most importantly, we are in Miles's debt for his service to our country. He served 30 years in the United States Marine Corps. And did you see the facility here as you pulled in right behind us? I thought you might be tempted to go over and say hi or go for a run or something with those guys. He has served time in Kenya, Iraq, France, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Turkey, Israel, Lebanon, and England. So he is a true patriot, and once again, we are just proud to have him on the Tennessee Board of Regents. Thank you, Miles. Chancellor Tidings. Unless you have any announcements, we'll just go ahead now and get officially started. Anything? All right, thank you. Mary Moody, our General Counsel, would you call the roll, please?
Regent Apple.
Here.
Regent Autry.
Here.
Regent Burdine. Here. Regent Duckett. Here. Regent Green. Here. Regent Griscom. Here. Regent Hatch.
Here.
Regent Krause. Regent Markham.
Here.
Regent McQueen. Here. Regent Mitchell.
Here.
Regent Prescott.
Here.
Regent Reynolds. Here. Regent Shockey.
Here.
Regent Summons.
Here.
Regent Templeton. Regent Varlin.
Here.
Regent White.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a reminder to everybody, I think we're all familiar with these by now, but remember to turn your mic on and off as you speak. Look for the green and the red light. You have before you in our materials our minutes from our quarterly meeting on December 14 and our special called meeting on March 13. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to accept them as presented. Thank you, Regent Griscom. And a second? A second, Regent Markham, is that right? Prescott, I'm sorry, Barbara, thank you. Any discussion? If not, a voice vote is in order. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The minutes are approved. We also have in our materials the Chancellor's Interim Action Report. Chancellor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week you received an interim action report in your board materials. This report constitutes a record of businesses transacted by the Office of the Chancellor since the previous quarterly meeting of the board. Madam Chair, pending any questions, I recommend the board's approval of the report of interim action.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the Chancellor? If not, I need a motion to approve. Thank you, Regent Green. A second?
Second.
Second, Regent Burdine. Any discussion? Also a roll call vote. All in favor of approving the Chancellor's interim report, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We now turn to the report of our committee work that has been done since our last quarterly meeting. We have 2 items. Unless there's any objection, I'd like to take them both up at the same time and act on them together. The first is the minutes of February 6 and 20, special called meetings of the Finance and Business Operations Committee, and the second would be the minutes of the March 13 meeting of the Audit Committee. A motion to approve, please. Thank you, Regent Griscom. A second? Regent Duckett. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all very much. And now to the report of the Chancellor.
Thank you. Just a few items of interest to the board. In the governor's budget amendment, which was presented to the legislature last week, the amendment added $9 million in non-reoccurring funds to be used to purchase state-of-the-art equipment for our TCATs. This will be distributed out to those TCATs using the list that they turned in to us. We'll look at most critical need first, but we do anticipate that some amount of money will be given to all of our TCATs. This will also accelerate Drive to 55 across our state. In Tennessee Reconnect and the advising academies, our system continues to prepare for the arrival of the Reconnect students in fall. As of to date, we have 8,400 prospective students that have applied statewide for Reconnect. So if they all come, this is going to be a tremendous boost to our enrollment. With the Reconnect academies and advising academies, again, Dr. Lemon has been holding those across the state, looking at how we are going to focus on adult learners and career advising. Approximately 90 institutional representatives have attended the academies to date. You all are aware also of the vote that you made earlier in the year of our new presidential appointments for Motlow State and Nashville State. The Board of Regents met in a special called session on March 13th and unanimously appointed Dr. Shauna L. Jackson as the next president of Nashville State Community College and Dr. Michael Torrance as the next president of Motlow State. Dr. Jackson is currently an associate vice president and chief operating officer of Columbia State Community College at the Williamson campus, and she has more than 20 years of experience in higher education administration and nearly 12 years of full and part-time teaching experience. She earned a doctorate in educational administration and supervision at Tennessee State University and a master's degree in business administration and a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, both from Florida A&M University. And also was just notified last week that she is now has been accepted into the Aspen Institute Fellows Program for this coming year, which is quite an honor. That is a national recognition that she's just received. Dr. Torrance, who is currently Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs at Volunteer State Community College, has 11 years of experience in higher education administration and nearly 23 years of full and part-time teaching experience. He earned a doctorate in philosophy with a major in exceptional learning at Tennessee Tech University and a master's degree in arts and behavioral of arts and bachelor's of arts at South Dakota State University, both with a major in English. Dr. Torrance is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, serving as a senior airman from 1992 to 1996. Dr. Torrance will assume official duties on May 1st, and Dr. Jackson will begin her leadership at Nashville State on June 1st. Would both of these individuals please stand and let us recognize you today? Congratulations to both of you. We're really excited to have you on board. I'd also like to express deep gratitude to my 2 interim presidents, Dr. Hilda Tunstall and Dr. Kim McCormick. Dr. Tunstall has been serving as the interim president at Motlow, and Dr. McCormick has been serving at Nashville State. Would both of you please stand and let us recognize you for your great work? Their commitment to the success of stabilizing both of these colleges during time of change has been tremendous, and I cannot personally thank both of them enough for what they've done for the system. I'd also at this time like to introduce Shelley Travis, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Services and former Skills USA State Director, who is going to introduce our Student of the Year.
Thank you, Dr. Tidings and members of the board. The Outstanding Technical Student of the Year program was created 9 years ago by the Tennessee Board of Regents to share the value of technical education. The Student of the Year is an ambassador for technical education, speaking at schools, civic clubs, conferences, meetings, economic summits, legislative events, and many other opportunities. This year, Tennessee's community colleges joined the program for the first time, allowing TBR to celebrate the success of our technical students at all 40 of our institutions. 9 regional finalists for the Outstanding Technical Student of the Year program competed at local and regional levels across the state. Last week, a panel of judges representing the Board of Regents and business and industry leaders heard presentations from all 9 students, followed by rigorous interviews with each of the finalists. During the Skills USA Awards ceremony last Wednesday, the winners were announced. Third place was awarded to Kevin Moten, an industrial electricity student at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Chattanooga, and the second place award went to Shania DeRusha, a nursing student at Columbia State Community College. Finally, as the most anticipated moment of the award ceremony, Carrington Fox, a recent graduate of the Building and Construction Trades program at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Nashville, was named the Outstanding Technical Student of the Year for 2018. Carrington, as an Outstanding Student of the Year, will be presented a 2018 Nissan Versa, made available through generous contributions from Nissan North America, Amitral, and Relatech. All 9 finalists were awarded an iPad and a silver pen during a dinner in their honor on Tuesday night. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to the board our 2018 Outstanding Technical Student of the Year, Carrington Fox. She's a I'm going to give just a little introduction to her first. Longtime journalist Carrington Fox recently retooled her life by enrolling in a technical college to pursue sustainable and affordable housing design. She journaled her experience as a middle-aged mom in technical education at her blog, Build Me Up Buttercup, focusing as much on technical challenges of construction as on the personal challenges of returning to college in midlife. Build Me Up Buttercup was featured at nccer.org, the website for National Center for Construction Education and Research, as a part of a series about women in construction. For 2 decades prior to returning to college, Carrington wrote for local and national media on topics ranging from food and finance to art and architecture. In 2010, she was named top food writer by the Association of Alternative News Weeklies for her weekly column in the Nashville Scene. Her writing has appeared in Southern Living, Dr. Oz, The Good Life, Food Network, Culture, Creative Loafing Charlotte, Louisville's LEO Weekly, Esquire.com, Chapter16.org, The Tennessean, Nashville Arts, and In Focus Magazine, where she served as the associate editor from 2004 to 2006. Carrington has appeared on Throwdown with Bobby Flay and has been a guest on Martha Stewart's radio program. Carrington is a 5th-generation Tennessean. She and her husband, David, have 3 sons, ages 11, 13, and 14, and they are just a beautiful family. Please join me in congratulating and welcoming Ms. Carrington Fox, our 2018 Outstanding Technical Student of the Year.
Well, thank you to Shelley, and thank you to this group for this honor and this opportunity. It is truly a joy for me to tell you how the Tennessee College of Applied Technology next door retrained me for a career I've always wanted. As long as I can remember, I wanted to build things. As a child, I built forts and tree houses, and as I got older, I was more interested in larger structures, garden architecture, sheds and greenhouses and chicken coops. And with that in mind, I thought that I would become a landscape architect. I went to college at Princeton University, where I studied art history with a concentration in landscape architecture, particularly the architecture of the 18th century in England. And I read and wrote about the most beautiful gardens in the world for 4 years, but after 4 years in the Ivy League, I graduated and still didn't know how to build or plant a single thing. So instead of becoming a landscape architect, I became a journalist. And I wrote about business, and eventually I went back to the Owen School at Vanderbilt to get an MBA to become a more capable business reporter. I eventually married another very capable business reporter, and we had 3 children. And then it was the blink of an eye, 25 years had passed. And one day I told my husband, you know, I'm not doing the work that I had set out to do in the first place. I knew that to change from journalism to anything else, particularly construction, I was going to need a lot of help. So I drove next door to the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Nashville, and I asked them to teach me to build buildings. And for the next 16 months, I climbed up ladders and onto roofs and into dumpsters, and I wired circuits and soldered copper, and I went to Skills USA in Chattanooga, where I won a gold medal in Teamworks, framing a small house. And when I got home from Chattanooga, my children gave me a circular saw for Mother's Day. I started a small business making wooden games, and when I graduated in December, I got a job at the Wills Company, which is a local design build firm. And every day I go to work very near to here, and I learn more and more about building the types of structures I always wanted to make. So I realized that I changed the path of my life in technical school, and I had the absolute time of my life doing it. When I transitioned from journalism to construction, I naturally thought that I would stop writing things. But as it turned out, every day I would come home from school, and the things I had seen at school that day were so interesting and inspirational and heartwarming and frankly just hilarious that I started writing them down in a blog. And I called the blog Build Me Up Buttercup because it's always been my favorite song, but also the blog was about building things, you know, helpful hints like measure twice and cut once. But it was also about the people and experiences who were building me up as a person. So I wrote about the Egyptian carpenter who taught our class that we could build things that were functional but also extremely beautiful. And I wrote about the veterans who were returning from Afghanistan, who taught our class that we could work fearlessly and without complaint. And I wrote about a 16-year-old woman who was training to take over her family business, who finally taught me to have confidence in my 46-year-old self. And along the way, an amazing and very unexpected thing happened. People started reading Build Me Up Buttercup. And it wasn't just my family and my classmates, but it turned out that people across the country and across the state were reading this blog, and they would email me, and they'd say, "Dear Buttercup," which I loved. And very often they were women of a certain age like me who had reached a point in their career and wanted to make a big change, and it had never occurred to them they could. But more often than not, it was parents of college-age students. And they would say, "Dear Buttercup, we have a son or a daughter, and we don't really think that four-year college is going to be right for them, but we had never considered a technical education until we stumbled across your blog." And they would ask me questions like, is this experience everything you wanted it to be? And is it affordable? And was it worth your time? And most importantly, they'd say, would you recommend a technical path for our family? And every time, all I could say was absolutely yes. At any point in your life, it is worth exploring new things, and particularly a technical education. Because for me, it was not in the Ivy League, and it was not at the Vanderbilt Graduate School, but it was at my local Tennessee College of Applied Technology, where I finally got the skills and the confidence to do the work that I had wanted to do in the first place. I have written a lot of stories as a journalist, but Build Me Up Buttercup, which is the story of the men and women training to build our community, is the best story I've ever had the privilege to write, and it is my honor to be a part of that story, and I look forward to sharing my story with other families across the state in the hopes that it might build them up too. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think it's very easy for you to see how she won this competition. Both Regent Varlin and I had the privilege of being on the panel that selected our winner, and we are most proud that she is part of our system, and we know she will be a great ambassador for us, so thank you. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
You concluded on a tremendous note. Thank you. So, and oh, Danny, did you want to say something? I'm sorry, since you were on the panel. Please.
I'm over here just going, it was so much fun, and it wasn't easy. We had unbelievable candidates who were, their stories and how our schools were changing their lives were all so compelling. This story, particularly with our Reconnect program and everything that we're talking about right now, was perfect. And Carrington, we are so excited to have you this year. It was, Dr. Tidings and I were just beside ourselves in terms of thinking that, are you kidding me? This is a story we couldn't made up. It was just so amazing. So thank you for taking a chance and then for doing so much good work for us and telling our story for others. So congratulations and thank you.
So, and I'll just add to that, just on a personal note, although I did not know who the winner was until I walked in here just now. Carrington Fox happens to be my neighbor, so about 4 or 5 doors down. So I will tell you, you have made the Craighead Nation very proud this afternoon. Isn't that funny? Yeah, isn't that funny? So, and she'd even built, one of her early projects was to build one of those little libraries. Well, her chicken coop, we've all seen the chickens, but she also built one of those little libraries for the neighborhood. Exactly, exactly. So that was one of her first projects. So we're very proud of you and those 3 amazing boys. Oh, another happy note here is our Regents Award today. Regent Markham, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Vice. Opportunity to honor one of our own, and not only that unique, but we have the opportunity to do it on his home turf. It is an honor for me to present the 2018 Excellence in Philanthropy. Thank you. To Regent Joey Hatch. Regent Hatch began his relationship with Nashville State Community College in 1973, as so many individuals in Middle Tennessee have done since the college opened its doors in 1970 as a student. If you've ever spoken with Joey personally, he has no doubt bent your ear about how his time at Nashville State, then Nashville Tech, opened doors of opportunity for him that he never dreamed possible, and changed the course of his life. Joey gives his time, resources, and heart in service and vision that Nashville State can be the very best institution in the state of Tennessee, serving as a springboard for students and for generations to come. As an alumnus of Nashville State, Joey has long exemplified a level of commitment to both the college and this community that serves as a model to others. His passion for issues related to diversity and inclusion and workforce development shines through all that he does. As an executive and vice president with Sanska U.S. Building, he has been a constant champion of Nashville State's architectural and construction engineering programs within his networks, bridging his passion for community development with his professional endeavors. Presently, at the request of Chancellor Tidings, Joey is leveraging his extensive professional expertise to strengthen, align, and increase enrollment in all of the architectural, engineering, and construction programs at TCATS and community colleges across the state. Many organizations have been profoundly changed by Joey's advocacy and leadership, including, of course, our own Tennessee Board of Regents, where Joey represents the 7th Congressional District, as well as Nashville State Community College Foundation Board of Trustees. He also currently engaged in community service with a number of other organizations, including the YWCA of Nashville and Middle Tennessee Board of Directors, Metro Nashville Gender Equity Council, Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and Middle Tennessee State University School of Construction Advisory Council. Joey's past community service engagements include Auburn University School of Construction Advisory Council, Purdue University School of Construction Advisory Council, Tennessee State Architectural Engineering Program Advisory Council, service as an accreditation member with the American Council for Construction Education, and service as a founding board member and past chair of the ACE Mentor Organization of Board of Directors. Joey joined Nashville State Community College Foundation Board of Trustees in 2003 and began serving as chair in 2016. Understanding the importance of building strategic relationships with individuals, corporations, and nonprofit partners in the community to advance the mission of both the foundation and the college, he has helped transform the board into a group of active ambassadors who constantly seek opportunities to connect the foundation with key community leaders and industry. His enthusiasm and diligence are contagious, and he leads by example, motivating his fellow trustees to engage deeply with their collective work, providing Nashville State students with the same types of opportunities he received, and subsequently empower those students to achieve their dreams and bright futures. Always the first to raise his hand or sign his name to any challenge, Joey steadily pushes for excellence. He has fostered a culture of philanthropy within the board, resulting in significant increases in personal gifts from trustees, as well as the development of a cohesive friendship strategy. The Wallace Wilson Scholarship, a shining example of the way Joey engages those around him to rise to greatness. Joey created this scholarship in 2016 to support students in the architectural engineering, technology, and construction engineering programs at Nashville State. It serves as a fitting tribute to Dr. Wallace Wilson, a retired Nashville State professor who mentored Joey and countless other students during their time at the college and beyond, guiding them throughout the seasons of their lives as students, professionals, and people. Marshaling the support of fellow alumni and industry leaders, Joey raised $100,000 in a single evening during a reception honoring Dr. Wilson. To date, Regent Hatch and his wife Debbie have honored the college with personal gifts totaling more than $65,000. While his philanthropic support is significant, it is Joey's ability to establish authentic connections with members of the Nashville State community that sets him apart from other loyal friends of the college. The countless hours he devotes to counseling, mentoring, connecting, and advocating for students and the college and the TBR system are unparalleled and demonstrates to all who know him both the depth and the sincerity of his commitment. As the college has grown, Joey's leaderships, ideas, contributions have strengthened the voice of the community during pivotal times. He has provided remarkable leadership and vision to propel Nashville State into the future. Joey's outstanding record of service reminds us how tightly woven philanthropy is to the fabric of our entire community's success. TBR recognizes him for providing the crucial margin of excellence for higher education, as well as for being the kind of philanthropist whose generosity extends far beyond the campus of Nashville State. On behalf of the Tennessee Board of Regents, its member institutions, I am pleased today to award this year's Regents Award for Excellence in Philanthropy to Regent Joey Hatch, who is the most deserving of this prestigious honor and recognition for his contribution of time, resources, and vision that have transformed an impact on Nashville State Community College, its students, and the community. Regent Hatch, congratulations.
Thank you so much. This award really should go to my bride of almost 42 years who's here with us today, Debbie Hatch. Without her, I probably would have continued to wander a little bit, but she's always kept me in the center of the road. So thanks a lot, Miss Debbie.
Thank you.
Regent Burdine asked me a minute ago how long my keynote speech was, and I said I'm going to try to keep it under 30 minutes. So I'm quite sure I'll do that. It'll be more like a minute. 4 things happened to me starting in the spring of '73 till the spring of '75. I found out about Nashville State. I met Dr. Wilson, who was my savior, my life mentor. He was a teacher. When I came over here as an 18-year-old freshman, he was this really old dude. He was like 36 at the time. But, you know, how he could relate to students like me and help me become a really good student were beyond me, but I'm so thankful for that. I got this really cool paid internship with a construction company, a fellow named Joe M. Rogers, who many of you know. Later, a year or so later, I had met my bride back in 1969 at a junior high school over in Green Hills, but we were 2 years apart, so we didn't know each other really well. But we actually started dating, and then I got a scholarship to Auburn to go finish my 4-year degree in construction. So those 4 things that happened to me all started with my first visit here at Nashville State. And I've been coming over here for 45 years now, and I can tell you every time I drive on the campus, my heart beats a little faster because this place is so special. And Regent Markham, thanks so much for those words. That's really special, and this is humbling, and I'm really honored for this. And I can't tell you how lucky I am to have had a 45-year career in construction. I've had a great time. I'm retiring in 90 days, so I'll actually have time to get involved now. So I can't wait for that. I told Dr. Tidings a while back, she asked me what I was going to do when I retire, and I said, I'm going to come haunt you full time. So, but I'm excited to be able to get really involved in higher education on a more full-time basis. It's a really rewarding work that everybody does, and on the Board of Regents for 1 year, that's been really exciting and rewarding. So I'm looking forward to that, and thanks again.
Stay
Joey,
right there.
stay there. We're coming your
Joey,
way. Yeah.
Joey, stay right there. We're going to ask Debbie, the Chancellor, and Vice Chancellor to.
Oh, wow.
For a picture, and the new presidents. The new president and the... Absolutely. Oh.
No, right here. You're the boss. We're all right. That's a common occurrence. There we go. Okay, there we go. One more. There we go. That was fun. I think based on the 2 presentations we've just heard, we are going to package up Carrington Fox and Joey Hatch and put them on the road across this great state to tell the story of our technical colleges and our community colleges. Well done.
Hey, I'll add that won't be the first time we've done that. We were the co-host for Connexion Americas for a spring breakfast fundraiser about 3 years ago, so we know how to work together.
Excellent, excellent. So congratulations, Joey and Deb. Y'all are very special people. You're very special to us and to Nashville State. So we are just honored to know you and call you friends. Regent Markham, thank you for an excellent presentation. So great pick for the Regents Award. We do not have any unfinished business to come before the board at this time, so we will move into new business. The first item under our informational reporting today is an overview of the governor's budget recommendations, and you just heard the chancellor mention the $9 million for TCAT equipment, which is good news in and of itself. You had this report in your board reading materials. Would anyone like for Vice Chancellor Gibbs to come make the presentation, or do you have any questions for Danny at this point? Hearing none, everyone has read and digested on the governor's budget recommendations, so we'll keep our fingers crossed in these final weeks of the legislative session. We will now call on Vice Chancellor McCormick to put on her Vice Chancellor hat, if you will, instead of her interim president hat, and we're looking forward to our external affairs update.
Thank you,
Thank
Chair
you.
Reynolds. And I do want to say that our external affairs staff has done a wonderful job of keeping things afloat while I have been at Nashville State. Amazing folks, truly are. And at this point, I would like to call Assistant Vice Chancellor Matthew Gann up to talk about the system website refresh.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Tidings, Vice Chair Reynolds, and members of the board. Over the past 6 to 8 months, the Department of Marketing and Digital Strategy within External Affairs, along with our team member Rick Locker in the Chancellor's office, have been evaluating and redesigning our messaging internally and to the public. This includes publications for the System Office, our Technical College, the Tennessee Trained Initiative, as well as multiple Tennessee Promise and Tennessee eCampus digital ad campaigns. We've also launched multiple newsletters, most recently what we refer to as a community newsletter targeted toward chambers of commerce, business and industry, legislators, other community leaders across the state to increase awareness of our system and to help with market expansion. Our newsletter open rate are currently beating industry average by over 20%. We have about a 40 to 60% open rate on our community newsletter, and that's really unheard of. That tells you that our system has strong messages and people are eager to hear them. The next phase of our storytelling includes what is our most valuable and visible marketing tool, which is our website. It's been an all hands on deck with our web team, our content and marketing units. We've also worked closely with Amy Moreland and Melissa Hunter in research, who have been invaluable in providing data for us. We're in the finishing phases of phase 1 of the redesign, starting with a new look that's intentional in targeting the different groups we serve as a system and as a system office. I also want to note that all of this work is being done in-house. I'm here today to give you a short preview. So this is our current website. If I can find the cursor, there we go. You always love a live demo. There we go. So this is the refreshed homepage. One thing you'll notice at the beginning here is we're going to really push the stories from across our campus, not just press releases, not just about the units that serve the system office, but really stories that impact our campuses and our state and business and industry. So as you go down here, go up here, the Get Started section of this really goes towards the individual demographics that we serve, which are future students, adult learners, online learners, military and veterans, business and industry, people that are looking to get employed within our system as a whole, including our colleges, employers that are looking to potentially connect with our schools and offer our students jobs before they're finished, and as well as faculty and staff. Faculty are one of the most important parts of our system. And if you notice here, it's big, it's bold, and it says 40 colleges powering Tennessee, which is something we're really trying to get behind, because we do have almost 120,000 students in our system right now, and those are going to be the future workforce of Tennessee. And it really points out what we do. We are a system of technical colleges, community colleges, and a very large online campus that encompasses not only our schools and some of the LGIs. And I think that eCampus is going to be a more vital role, especially with Reconnect happening and being flexible to our students. The other part is really, and this kind of like a breathtaking thing, is really what we cover in the state. This are our campus locations, including main campuses and our satellite locations, including the technical and the community colleges. And right now, when you click on one of these, it has the address and information, but also, and what we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, is finding a programs, and with the common application that's going to be launching very soon, being able to apply to each one of these institutions from one space. The very important part about students, especially with Complete College Tennessee, letting people know and letting us know that a big barrier is the perceived financial issues. So we talk about right here the different things in the programs within our state that offer really tuition-free programs. And again, going back to the news, we're going to be telling stories, and not just the press releases and the mandatory things that we have to do, but telling the stories of successes within our system office, within the colleges, and within the communities that we do serve, and obviously the social stuff. But we're working to launch phase 1 sometime in the month of April. And phase 2, including hyperlocal program searches, revision career taxonomies, new marketing landing pages, and some integrated dashboards, which you'll see a little bit later from Vice Chancellor Deaton's team, will launch a little bit later this year. So this will be a one-stop shop for program information, for data about our system, and for us to tell the story of our system, which I think is very important. So that concludes my presentation. Any questions, comments?
I do have a question by way of Regent Burdine for you that may.
Yes.
When we've mentioned now a couple of times today the importance of military and veterans to our efforts going forward.
Yes.
Any thoughts, and you may well have already shared some of this with Matthew, on how we can better connect with those folks, whether it's through email or other marketing techniques?
Well, a couple of thoughts. One, how are you getting this website, this information to the military right now? Has that already been done?
Not yet. We're going to
Okay.
be pushing, on our current website, we do not have a special dedicated section to military and veterans, and this one we do. And it's going to be pulling all the information. Get this mouse back. Especially paying for it, we do have Pell military and federal programs right there. We're going to be pulling and putting all that information in one section.
Well, there's reserve units and all across the state of Tennessee, and I would reach out to them. I'm not sure if there's one network where you can reach to them. We can probably find that out.
Yeah.
But are you going to have any videos? Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think having Carrington on there would be great, and there's probably, I know there's some veterans out there. In fact, Northeast State just opened up a Veterans Center in downtown Kingsport last week, and there were some great stories there. I heard a couple of them telling their story, and so putting that on the website I think would be very helpful as well.
Yeah, we just got a couple of new camera systems, and our entire staff is training right now. We've already sent out Virginia Moreland, which is our marketing and advertising director. She's been on the road this past week doing video, and all of us were on board doing video at Skills USA to get the feel of what's going forward. But yes, we're going to be, part of our storytelling is not just words. It's going to be pictures, videos, going out to campuses and actually hearing about the stories of our students. And I think military is a very key part of that in reaching that audience.
Great, doing the right things. Huh?
Thank you for that insight. Any other questions or comments for Matthew? All right, excellent.
All right,
Keep up
thank
the
you
good
for your
work.
time.
We'll look forward. Will you let us know when this is
We will.
up
yes.
and running? All right,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Thank you very
you.
much. Dr. McCormick?
Thank you. At this point, I would like to call up Kristen Veloff. Kristen is our coordinator of government relations, and rather than me do the legislative update, I wanted you all to meet her. She is our boots on the ground. We used to say plaza in the Cordell, in the Hull now. So she is there every day, and we know that we have 40 very, very active presidents across the state that are working diligently in their areas. Kristen is the person who has been going into that actual situation in the legislature for us, and she will give you that update. Go ahead. I've got to pull one thing out of here. I need
Thank you, Dr. McCormick and Madam Chair and board members. So before you, you will see under our legislative priorities, as you can see, what we had mentioned in the previous quarterly board meeting. But moving on to bills that we are tracking this legislative session. Under Complete to Compete, House Bill 2114, Senate Bill 2259, sponsored by Leader Hawk and Leader Norris, creates the Complete to Compete agenda through the Complete College Act of 2018. The bill is calendared in House Finance, Ways and Means Committee and also in Senate Finance, Ways Committee. Moving on to dual enrollment. You will find House Bill 2155, Senate Bill 2078, sponsored by Leader Hawk and Chairman Yeager, establishes the first right of refusal for a TBR college to provide dual enrollment to the LEA. If a TBR college is unable to provide the desired course in a reasonable time frame, the LEA may partner elsewhere. This bill does not affect current partnerships that are already in place. The bill was calendared in both the House Education, Instruction, and Programs Subcommittee and Senate Education. However, the bill was taken off notice, and Leader Hawk requested that the governor's office facilitate a task force between the stakeholders. Next, you will find House Bill 2030, Senate Bill 1975, sponsored by Chairman Fogarty and Senator Gardenhire. The bill creates a 2-year dual enrollment mechatronics pilot toward earning an AAS upon completion of high school. The bill was calendared in House Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee and Senate Finance, Ways and Means, and the governor decided to include $1 million in the budget amendment toward the pilot. The third dual enrollment bill that we are tracking is House Bill 740 and Senate Bill 1164, sponsored by Representative Powers and Senator Hensley. The bill expands the dual enrollment grant to fully cover the cost of Class 3 and 4. The bill was calendared in House Administration and Planning Subcommittee, where it was taken off notice, and the bill was general subbed last year in Senate Education. Moving on to guns on campus. House Bill 884, Senate Bill 1341, sponsored by Representative Matheny and Senator Bailey, allows the holder of a valid handgun carry permit to carry firearms at all times in all places in Tennessee. The bill failed in House Civil Justice Subcommittee and was general subbed last year in Senate Judiciary. Under Academic Affairs, we have House Bill 1758, Senate Bill 1873, sponsored by Representative Crawford and Chairman Lumberg. The bill would certify additional EMT, AEMT training centers operated by ambulance services to provide EMT, AEMT training. The bill passed House Health Subcommittee and is calendared in House Health Full Committee next Tuesday. The bill also passed Senate Health and Welfare and was referred to Senate Finance, Ways and Means. Next, we have House Bill 1599 and Senate Bill 1649 by Chairman Fogarty and Leader Norris. The bill establishes liability framework for employees that accept students receiving secondary education credit, creates a tax credit for employers participating in work-based learning opportunities. The bill passed House Government Operations and was sent to House Finance, Ways and Means, where we are waiting for the bill to be calendared, and the bill passed Senate Education and was referred to Senate Finance, Ways and Means. Moving on to undocumented students, House Bill 2582, Senate Bill 2569 by Chairman Reagan and Senator Hensley required higher education institutions to classify students as in-state for tuition purposes only if the students are Tennessee citizens. The bill was calendared in House Education, Administration, and Planning Subcommittee, where the bill failed. The bill was also general subbed in Senate Education. Next, House Bill 2429, Senate Bill 2263, sponsored by Chairman White and Senator Gardenhire, provides out-of-state tuition exemption for students who attended a Tennessee high school for 3 years prior to graduation from a Tennessee high school. The bill passed House Education Administration and Planning Sub and was sent to House Education Administration and Planning Committee. The bill was also calendared in Senate Education, where the bill remains in committee. Next is student success. House Bill 2434, Senate Bill 2174, sponsored by Chairman White and Senator Gardenhire, allows governing boards of higher education to adopt policies addressing the management of student debts and obligations. The bill was calendared in House Calendar and Rules this morning. It actually passed, and it will be on the House floor Monday evening. The bill passed the Senate floor 32-0. And last but not least, administrative efficiencies. House Bill 1894, Senate Bill 1839, sponsored by Representative Van Huss and Chairman Gresham, gives the TBR the statutory authority to combine existing TCATs as needed in an effort to improve operational and administrative efficiencies. The bill passed House Education, Administration, and Planning Committee and was referred to House Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee. The bill passed Senate Education and was referred to Senate Calendar, where we are waiting for the bill to be calendared on the House floor. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Kristen, and I think the Chancellor has a comment as well.
I would just like to comment on this last House bill, Senate bill, to let you know that the intent of this is to give us the permission to actually have a president over multiple TCATs. This is not to close any existing TCATs. We currently do have 2 presidents that are serving over multiple sites, but we're not allowed to actually combine them legislatively until this is resolved. So that's what the intent of this is to do.
Questions, comments?
I've got one real quick. The tax credit and liability bill, do you think that's going to pass?
With Chairman Fogarty and Leader Norris as the sponsors, I do believe it will. Considering Leader Norris, he is able to get things.
I heard there was a concern about the fiscal note on it. Is that?
That is, and a lot with a fiscal note, the members are able to work to try and see what they're willing to fund and what they're not. It will be based off of what negotiations are going on. Again, that is more behind the scenes that unfortunately I'm not necessarily privy to, but with Leader Norris being the sponsor, I think it's fairly sure to pass.
That's good. Good.
What's your take on the EMT bill? Do you think it's going to pass?
Right now, we are working with Chairman Lumberg and Representative Crawford on compromising on a way that we can all feel comfortable with the bill. I've had multiple conversations with Representative Crawford, and that's why right now the bill continues to be rolled in full committee until we're able to come to an agreement.
They're being honest about the cost, the fiscal note that would have to go with that?
I have no way of saying, because the reason being is the fiscal note support form is submitted to Fiscal Review Committee, and that the Fiscal Review Committee is the one that decides what the fiscal note is. Unfortunately, it's out of my purview.
Thank you, Kristen. Thanks to you and the team for your good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, this is not on your calendars or schedules or anything else, but we need to recognize someone else. So this month, as we know, Nashville State is celebrating the coming of the new president, Dr. Shauna Jackson. Nashville State has also recently gained a very great new vice president. The college has developed a much-needed division of economic and community development. While it pains me to say so, to talk about a member of my own team at TBR, I would like to say that I'm proud to see that the Division of ECD at Nashville State launched under the leadership of Miss Ginger Hauser. Most of you know that Ginger's professional life has primarily been spent in the service to the state of Tennessee, and much of that in service to the TBR College System of Tennessee and its institutions. Through her time with the Comptroller's Office, Ginger engaged in presenting very thoughtful research on a wide range of issues, often directly related to the education of our citizens and supportive of quality initiatives by policymakers. As a member of the Nashville Metro Council for 8 years, she worked hard to make Nashville's higher ed institutions more connected to this community by improving safety and transportation for those living near their campuses. Since joining the TBR system, Ginger served as the system's representative in the legislature, advocating tirelessly on behalf of dozens of institutions, hundreds of faculty and staff, and tens of thousands of students, all of which have benefited from her service. When discussions began last year to create a Department of Institutional Advancement, Ginger's ideas and enthusiasm made her the natural choice for its inaugural leader. However, we asked her to transmit some of those great ideas, hard work, and enthusiasm into a new role where she can be doing a world of good as the continued in a continued leadership role at Nashville State. We are very proud of Ginger. We hate to see her go at TBR, but we are very Dr. Jackson will be very fortunate to have her. So Ginger, if you don't mind coming up real quick.
Oh, I love it.
On behalf of Chancellor Tidings, the Board of Regents, all faculty, staff, and institutions across the state, we thank you for your service.
Well, it's Kim's fault that I'm actually coming to Nashville State. So after she'd been here a couple weeks, she came back to the TBR office and she said, "I need you there." And I said, "Well, I'm happy to help. Just tell me what I'll do whatever you want me to do." She said, "No, I need you to be going there every day instead of here every day." And I said, "Oh, now I understand what you're saying." So it's really Kim's fault that I'm coming here. But I will say I've been here about a week and a half. And it's an exciting opportunity. I get to work with Regent Hatch in a different capacity with the foundation, and I have the foundation in marketing and economic and community development underneath me as partners. So I will be learning and working with the team here and working with the new leadership, which I'm really excited about. But I have built long sort of friends at the Board of Regents. It's felt like home. In fact, I told Karen, I said, "Oh, that's so pretty, that's beautiful." I had no idea it was mine. So I will miss folks like Karen that have worked alongside me in probably 3 different spots at the Board of Regents and chancellors, and with Dr. McCormick. I've just developed some really good friends, good colleagues, and hope to continue working with them and you in a different capacity. So you've got my numbers. Don't hesitate to call.
Ginger, congratulations. And you will always be part of the family, so that's great. We know more great things even will be coming from Nashville State. That's very exciting. Dr. McCormick, thank you. I know there's a lot of good work going on. We sure appreciate you. Thank you. And now our Executive Vice Chancellor, Dr. Russ Deaton, with more interesting news. And I think you have the next 2 items. I do. Yes, sir.
Vice Chair Reynolds, Dr. Tidings, members of the board, it's good to talk to you today. If I can first go slightly off agenda to talk about one topic. When Matthew Gann was showing the website, when he was looking at the map of our locations, and as he hovered over, I believe it was TCAT, was it Hartsville? I'm not sure where it was. You saw a button pop up, Apply Now. So one of the projects that TBR has been working on is a common application, as you know, which would attack both an oftentimes real but very often perceived barrier to higher education, which is the complexity, the Byzantine nature of how you apply to college. It can sometimes feel just odd to students, and rather than having to apply to multiple schools, The common application will be a common front door for a student to apply to multiple schools that she wishes, wherever she wants to go. That information would then be captured by the system, sent to the campus as well for them to begin working with that student and allowing us to do some data analytics on those applications as well. It is being tested at 3 schools now and will go out for system-wide testing here in a few weeks with a launch here imminently. And we're excited about that for students. So that is a preview of some upcoming events. What I want to show you today, I have 2 tools to show you. One is also kind of related to what Matthew's working on, which is a data dashboard that'll be part of the TBR website. This was designed and sort of initially conceived with you in mind, actually, in trying to find ways to show board members, presidents, legislators, really anyone who wants to get a sense of TBR data to design an interactive tool for them to use. It is wave 1. We are building this out. Hopefully over time this will have data on all sorts of features for our system, but this is phase 1 that we're working on, which is going to get rolled out here when the website launches. The front page is what you'll see on your screen first. So when you go to that policy and strategy part of our website, you'll see an option for the data dashboard. And currently, down near the bottom, you'll see there are 4 broad families or topical areas, if you will, for where you can begin to explore data. Both general enrollments, specific populations by student type, looking at, for instance, low-income students or adults. Also, student success, just looking at degree production, how that breaks down by demographic. And then finally, retention and graduation rates, looking at how our students progress over time. All 4 of those are where we're starting with, and again, over time we're going to build this out further. So what I want to do with you now is sort of take a virtual test drive with you, if I may, and sort of show you what this is like and what you can do with it and some of its features. Within the enrollment tab, you'll be able to explore system-wide enrollment. Right now, only at the community colleges. We are exceedingly anxious to get TCAT student-level data into our hands so we can do this for them as well. Right now, our limitation is just the community colleges. But you can explore long-term trends in enrollment, for instance. You can also break down that data by school and look at just a particular campus and see how its enrollment trends have progressed over time as well. You can also look at specific subpopulations and get a sense of how some of the TBR equity challenges are playing out over time. For instance, you can look at our enrollment of black students the last 10 years and see we've had declines there steeper than the overall enrollments. An issue that requires some attention. But the enrollment tab has several options for the user to just simply look at the data in multiple ways. I'm not going through every tab, but I want to show you a couple of other trends that may be of note. One of the tabs will feature this information, basically breaking down the enrollment across several factors: age, gender, race, and again, this is longitudinal over time, so you can begin to see how the enrollment across the system changes by year. So let me show you a few things here, and I want you to focus, if you can, on the 25 to 50-year-old age brackets there on the enrollment slide. What I'm going to do is sort of start scrolling through the different years, and we're going to start this data back in 2009, which of course is pre-recession, actually probably at the height of the recession. And I'll walk you through year by year, and you can see how, again, our gender composition changes, how lots of things change. But to give you a flavor of what you can do, let me just have you focus on those 25 to 50-year-olds. And as we begin to sort of march through the years, one by one, you can begin to see the impacts of an improving economy and the impact it has on adult enrollment, particularly among those older students. So for instance, it shows what is a reality for many folks in this room, which is the adult enrollment is counter-cyclical. As the economy goes up, those students then therefore have less of a need they perceive to go back to school. This dashboard allows things like that to be teased out and allows the user to look at trends such as that. Other features in the family, you can see enrollment breakdowns by type. You can see how dual enrollment trends have changed across our sector. I'm going to flip over here and show you one in particular. Which is the total enrollment again by campus. And you can see this varies quite a bit. And if you were to drill down, when Dr. Jackson starts to dig into her data, she'll notice that 3 out of every 8 of her students are adults. That is a quite different picture from what you see at other institutions across the state. And the dashboard just allows you to play with that data and cut it any way you see fit, by demographic, by gender, by race, etc. Another feature, of course, is enrollment or graduation trends, and you can see both the historical production of associate degrees, short-term and long-term certificates, again by campus. As many of you know, our system degree production has increased quite dramatically the last 8 or 9 years, and that's in spite of a declining enrollment number. So the user can peruse those as well. This also breaks down by gender, by race, by demographic, by program type, allowing you to see exactly how our degree production trends have changed, who is getting those degrees, and what type. One thing to note here, focus the upper right-hand corner on the gender composition of our degrees. If you look at the 2017 data, and you only select those associate degrees within the community colleges, over 60% of those are awarded to women. If you were to look, though, only at the short-term certificates, you see that men occupy about 60% of those. Why that is probably relates to programs and choices that students make, but it's an interesting trend nonetheless to kind of see how that breaks down by campus. Final thing to show you is the success rates for our students. This has both first-year retention and graduation rates, and I want to pause on the last tab of this one because it shows really an important story for TBR, and this is the first-time full-time freshman graduation rate for cohorts over the last 6 years, showing how many of those students have graduated after 1, 2, and 3 years. The blue bar, of course, is that 3-year rate, and you can see that graduation rate has gone from 13% to nearly 22% over that time period. Many of the reforms this board has worked on for the better part of a decade are beginning to bear fruit. That's the takeaway here. This also allows one more thing that I'll end on this. But I know that the board and THEC and others are focused quite a bit on equity gap closures and ensuring that Drive to 55 works for all Tennesseans. This allows the user to break down graduation rates, and we can begin to look at where we have some acute challenges still. Graduation rates among our black students are still significantly behind their peers. However, it also shows some, honestly, some surprising successes. Our Hispanic student graduation rate is nearly on par with their majority peers. And so again, it points to some successes we're having as a system and also some continued challenges. Again, this launches live with the website here in a few weeks. We will then, once it is live, send you that direct link. It'll be on the front page of the website for anyone to use, and over time this will get built out more and more as we add more and more data to it. I've given you just a brief tour around the track. Are there any questions about the data itself or anything at all you'd like to ask?
Regent Griscom, I think this is something we've been waiting to see for a while. Yep. So, no, this is excellent.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the promise data will be added very soon. Mm-hmm.
Do we have even around this a marketing strategy, if you will, to let folks know this is available?
I will be asking Matthew Gann and his staff that exact question because I'm anxious to get this out there for folks. I know they have expertise to help us on that. So, yes. Yeah.
To our THEC Executive Director, any comments on this? Do you like what you see?
Well, of course, and also we'll put the Board of Regents probably at the forefront of governing boards in the nation with this kind of accessibility of data. If you were to go and look at the Board of Regents peers across the country, nobody has this level. You know, data doesn't matter if you can't use it to tell a story. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a spreadsheet. This is powerful. This is why we're always happy for THEC talent to migrate over to the Board of Regents.
And we're happy to have them.
Yeah. I knew you had to.
Those are encouraging words, though. Regent Griscom.
So with the Commissioner of Education here, are you looking at drilling down into high schools so we can also find out what high schools are providing students to us, the level of what they're coming in with, how many students are going to require remedial type education? I think that would also be a great indicator. As we talked a week or so ago looking at the promise data, how do we find out what's happening here And can we use this to figure out how to help at that level to get them ready to go into, post-secondary?
That's exactly right, and there are a lot of things we can do here. As you know, we mentioned the promise data, that will, including the demographic information of those students, their preparation levels, income levels, getting all that into the system. Being able to, and this is a bit of a preview of the next topic, but looking at us an institution level, where do those students come from, which counties, which high schools, how those patterns change over time, particularly now with Promise and Reconnect. There's a wealth of information, not just looking in the higher ed space, but then outward both to the K-12 side and on into the workforce too. All of that we envision eventually being a part of this, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would also share, this board may not know that this past year was the first year we have something called the Drive to 55 reports that we are giving to individual school districts across the state. These reports actually dig into the high school data for each one of our high schools. So for instance, if you are in Obion County, you can see where did those high school students actually go, what specific institutions did they go to. We're looking at cohort data. Did they complete? What was the profile of what they looked like when they were back in high school? So were they completing early post-secondary courses? How many did they complete? What did they take? Were they a sales student? So those are very helpful for you to be able to see what was the profile of a successful student in any of our colleges when they were in high school, so we can replicate what is being successful. We'll have a second iteration of that this year, but we're doing them district by district. And we also have a state level report that I'm happy to share with the board because you may find the data points very interesting.
And Russ, one other thing, and I've talked about this with the chancellor, it'd be great if we could figure out a way to also capture certificates. We've had this conversation and we know what goes into computing the Drive to 55, but we do so much work for business and industry, and where they send somebody in, they do not necessarily need a degree, but they need a certificate. And we need to figure out how, even if it's just for our own benefit, to track those people and see how we're doing there. Because I think that's an important piece going forward with the workforce development, to show that we are best equipped to provide the certificate type training too that people look for in addition to an associate degree or some other credential.
I agree completely, and let me point out a few things. The both short and long-term technical certificates are in the data. We've also redefined the graduation rate to include those students as well. So in the old days, I think we would define it only if you received the associates till we count you in a graduation rate. We're now counting the short-term certificates as well, similar to the way the TIAC funding formula does their work. Industry certificates, which are not conferred by us but are recognized, that's a blind spot we still have, so Region Griscom, we're working on trying to capture that somehow, some way, because that is a key feature of Drive to 55. We ought to count those if we can. That's harder, but definitely the certificates we award, those are in this data. Yeah.
Thank you. Great work, Russ, on this. Couple of things, though, because we mentioned telling the story. I mean, there are really there are probably many more things, but this data can tell our story. I mean, that's one thing, and then the other thing is to those people that want to dig in, so to create strategies to move forward and to improve our programming and those kinds of things. So hopefully there'll be a way to make this data work for both of those on the website. And then the other thing, and you mentioned the link on the front page, sometimes it's hard to just know what major heading to click on to find what you're wanting. And so hopefully you will be able to come up with a way that that people will know, I mean, where to look for the data. I mean, I think so much is lost on a good website sometimes because you don't even know where to go to pull it down. So hopefully when you first go to that website, people that are looking for this kind of data, that there'll be some way to indicate where to go or to click right there.
Couldn't agree more. And one of the things that we hope is that on the TBR homepage there's a one click away. Can you then jump into the data as opposed to having to kind of worm your way through the website? That's our hope.
Super. Excellent work.
Let me end at perhaps the most important point, which is this project was led and developed by Melissa Hunter on staff. Melissa, can you stand up, please, in the back? Yeah. A lot of folks had hands in the kitchen here, but Melissa was the chief cook. And the day that we were discussing a dashboard in the hallway, and she said, "Well, you know, Russ, I can build a dashboard. I have those skills." Her immediate future changed that day, so you'll never say that again. But I appreciate the work Melissa has done. We're demonstrating this to staff next week. We're going to do some trainings on this with presidents and other folks, so we're excited to launch this. So. Second item, and let me begin to ask Dr. Amy Moreland to come to the podium. A companion tool to this, less with you in mind and more with a president now in mind, is to develop what we're calling an institutional profile, which is going to give, and we're going to have examples for you, sort of a two-page overview of each of our institutions and their top-level data, kind of getting just a breezy tour through the institution and what it looks like and what are its degrees and enrollment trends and all sorts of financial information. We have those now for all 13 schools. They are going to be a companion piece on our website to this, and we're excited to launch those as well, and I'm going to ask Dr. Moreland to walk you through those.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Tidings, Vice Chair Reynolds, and members of the board. As Dr. Deaton just mentioned, we are creating the next step in this process to continue to tell the data story for each of our institutions. As part of that, we are happy to announce the launch of a series of profiles about each college. The first in this series we will show you an example of today, and this profile will provide a broad overview of the same data that's in those dashboards you just saw. The key distinction, though, is that these profiles will provide that data in a slightly different format. The idea is this: after someone interacts with that dashboard, we want to give them something to take home, something to take away, something that could be printed and shared with people in their community or shared online. It will have that same data, but in a slightly different context, perhaps for those who are less used to reading graphs and just want to see the numbers, perhaps. That's the idea behind the first in our series of profiles. One example is on the screen in front of you. This is the profile that's created for our hosts here today at Nashville State. And if you'd like, I can show you just some of the key pieces that these profiles include. They're all 2 pages long, so it's a pretty short overview of the data, but each profile contains these elements. First, there is a broad overview of the college's history, service area, counties that they serve, campus locations. There's also a year in review that highlights the awards and enrollment for the previous academic year. In the middle section of the first page, there's a profile of students with a particular emphasis on students in key groups like adult students, Tennessee Promise students, and dual-enrolled high school students. These profiles also include the most recent retention rates and graduation rates for each community college. On page 2, there's more information about where the students at that college come from. So what are the counties where students come from? It includes a map that shows the geographic reach of each community college. There's also briefly some information here about which high schools these students come from. There's other information about the areas of study for each community college that are most popular, financial aid information, and information about how to contact that college. Again, the idea here is that after someone views that dashboard, they can continue to see and tell the data story of that college. It's important to us to note that these profiles serve merely to complement but not replace the already outstanding work that people at each college are already doing to create in-depth fact books, fact sheets, dashboards, and profiles of their own. Our goal with these profiles is to provide a system-level, bird's-eye view of key data about each college. And after we launch these, which will be available on our webpage tomorrow morning, we have planned a series of additional profiles that will focus more in depth on topics like student success, equity, the TCATs, and other topics to come. So at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about these profiles.
Dr. Moreland, because I think you've been with us maybe about a year now.
4 months.
4 months. Okay, sorry, but far less than I realized. Would you tell the board a little bit about yourself?
Oh, of course. So I was previously a faculty member in political science at a university in Texas. I served there both as a faculty member and as an assistant vice president for institutional effectiveness and research. And then I came to Tennessee about 2 years ago and have been at TBR in our Research and Assessment Division since November.
Yes, Regent Griscom.
Could you run down to the bottom of your first page here where you get to the 12% graduation number?
Yes.
Is there anything on there where you could put, like you've got in other ones, a little click line? Because I worry if somebody sees 12%, they're not going to understand that at all. We understand it. We know what what it means and the work that's going on. But that is the only thing that would stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just saying, if you all look at that, is there something else you can do there that helps put context around that 12% number?
Absolutely, and we can continue to think of better ways to do that. I can say for now that once all of this is live on the website, both the dashboards and these profiles will be accompanied by a page that provides some additional context about how these terms are defined. Wherever possible, we've also tried to indicate what the system average is in comparison to that institutional rate. But I think there are certainly things we can do to provide that additional context around all of these things, and we can continue to look for more ways to do that.
Good. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Summons.
Yeah, just to clarify, it says there within 3 years at a TBR community college. Is that just community colleges, or is that community colleges and four-year schools?
Just community colleges.
Just community colleges.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Good work. We're glad that you found your way here from Texas.
Me too.
Okay. Good work. And to Melissa, thank you as well. Well done.
Thank you.
Dr. Deaton, anything else? All right. Keep up the good work, team. Very impressive. Thank you all. Dr. Puryear is now bringing us an economic and community development update, and I think there's a blue folder
yes, ma'am.
at our tables here for us.
Okay, well, first of all, good afternoon, and thank you, Vice Chair Reynolds, the Chancellor, Regents, and of course our guests in the audience. The ECD department has 2 informational items today to share with you. And let's see, I'm supposed to be clicking. I can probably do 2 good jobs better than I can click the slides, to tell you the truth. But the first agenda item is an update on current projects with the TBR ECD. As you know, Governor Haslam and Commissioner Rolfe announced February 12th that Allied Dispatch Solutions was selected to occupy a state-funded call center facility in Sneedville, Tennessee, as part of the state's Tennessee Project 95 initiative. And our office had the privilege to get to work with these folks along with ECD and labor and education, and it was if you've never been to Sneedville, I think you should take a trip. It's a wonderful, beautiful town. But the company plans to open more than 100 jobs in Hancock County. TCAP Morristown is working with them to design the training programs for the employees. 2 additional ECD projects that we're working on for the state. I had so wanted to announce those today, but I'm afraid I can't yet. It'll be the middle of April, but I promise you when it happens, you'll hear me scream because we've got some really exciting things going on in East Tennessee with these 2 projects. I will tell you that the East Tennessee institutions have worked diligently. They have had tours. They have had surprise visits. They have had conference calls. They have worked tirelessly to make sure that these 2 different projects understand that the Tennessee Board of Regents is ready to help them build their workforce, and I promise you they will. So we'll know a little bit more about those in April. Nathan Garrett, Assistant Vice Chancellor, is working with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture in 2 sectors, livestock processing and forestry. Both of these industries are growing by leaps and bounds, and they have to have a qualified workforce, just like every other business in this town. And Nathan is coordinating these projects and working with both the institutions to make sure that we're able to supply what they need. Our office received a request from Renfro Manufacturing. After consulting and talking in our office and with the state ECD, we have matched them up with Cleveland State Community College, and they are the training lead, and they will be providing training for team building, lean manufacturing, and leadership training. We're also working with Chattanooga 2.0 on developing a paraprofessional training program. The goal is to design a short-term training program that will highlight skills to increase effectiveness of paraprofessionals, particularly in the small group literacy situations. So we're excited about that, to be working on those programs. I would just be amiss if I did not say the campuses work daily on workforce, absolutely daily. And they spend an enormous amount of time making sure in their local communities and in their regions that they are standing ready to help them. And I just wanted to share that as we go through. The next agenda item is to talk a little bit about Tennessee Trained. I know you're very tired of hearing about it, but this is kind of exciting, so we wanted to share with you. The goal of Tennessee Trained, of course, is to create a system-wide approach for the workforce in Tennessee. The training started in January with a little over 75 attendees from all of our institutions, all 40, as well as ECD and labor and the University of Tennessee, in fact. Group presentations are scheduled for April 9th at TCAP Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and that will conclude the first session of this program. This program has helped to develop some tools, and as I promised you that when people came to this program that we would develop tools that they can take back to their campuses and help them with recruiting, retaining, and expanding industry. These tools have been developed, tweaked, and reviewed by all the attendees. Sometimes we will send out an edit and a proof, and they'll come back and we'll make changes, but they truly have helped to create this, and they have my gratitude for that. ECD and labor have also participated in developing these materials that we're about to look at. The tools will be available on our website, and each Tennessee trained graduate will have a password to access the materials for these particular forms we're going to talk about. They'll be able to fill the forms out online, then print them off, or put them on electronically in their folders. So if you would open your blue folder, the first form is just a communication online. They felt like the people in the committees felt like they needed to have an online way that they can communicate with each other. The second pamphlet that you have, which is the consult, should look a little bit like this. This is more or less how to do the needs analysis for the company. In the consult stage. Many of our institutions had a lot of different forms they used. Some schools didn't have a formal way to do this at all. Some folks just had it in their mind, and we know that's great if those people stay forever, but if those people leave or change positions, that information goes with them. So we were able to develop some different types of forms so that depending on which type of company that you go to, you're able to actually see and have the most relevant document to go with you. So that's what that packet is. The next sheet that you have is a program proposal sheet, and I'm happy to say that as a system we were able to design a standard program proposal that each campus will use when working with business and industry. And so the information will be the same, it will be presented in the same manner, and they'll know all the different parts to include. And again, they were instrumental in creating this for the design stage. The next thing that you have, you should have some slides, and this is part of the master slide deck. One of the things that happens on a campus is you get a phone call at 8 o'clock at night from someone with ECD or labor or your chamber, and they'll say, we're bringing a company by in the morning, can you give us a presentation? And that's, Jeremy's laughing, you know that happens, don't you, Jeremy? And so we thought that as a Tennessee trained group that we would have a slide deck prepared, and with Matthew in the marketing department and their wisdom and talent and skills, they have put together a slide deck that all of the institutions will be able to use. The slide deck will include some general information about the Tennessee Board of Regents system. It will have slides that they can edit and make their own personal community college or technical college and community ideas to go with them. And it'll have reconnect information, it'll have promise information, our warranty information. Literally, it's just hundreds and hundreds of slides that you'll be able to just pick through and build your presentation with quality slides, quality pictures, and the information there. So we're hoping that that will help when we get those last minute calls, and we know we're going to get them, and we'll just be able to present a very professional look with the information that they need. We also will have a section in this website for implementation where we will share best practices across the state, because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. And one of the nicest things that we see in this program is just the networking and people working together who didn't even realize they had counterparts that they could be working with. So that's good. And then the last, we will have Tennessee trained evaluation forms. They worked on those this month, so I don't have a copy of those for you right now, but certainly we'll share with them later. But we actually have designed 3 different evaluation forms. One will be used for the participants to make sure that the training was on task, that the participants learned what they needed to. The next one will be with management to make sure that management is happy with what we delivered to them. And then the third evaluation is a little different, but it is going to be an internal document where we evaluate how the campus did. The campus will sit down and say, okay, this training program worked really well because of this, or we didn't get this business maybe because of this. But it's just a way to help campuses take a look at what they're doing. And it's internal, it's their form, it's not ours, but something for them to take a look at. All of these forms are going to be password protected for the people that are just working with TBR with Workforce. The next tools that I want to talk with you about are going to be all public. We found that we did not have a site that a company or a chamber or industrial board or anyone else could go to just to find a location of what the workforce training that we do across the state. And so this document that you have, I think, Regent Markham, would you hold yours up, or Jennifer? It's that one right there. And what that is actually a document that has been designed, and Roane State actually designed this. I think Teresa Duncan did this a couple of years ago. And Deanna Morris Stacy has taken that, and with the incredible marketing staff that we have, they have designed one of these forms for each region of the state so that you can go on the website and you can choose if you want information about East Tennessee's workforce development programs, middle or west or statewide. And so you'll be able to print that off, and you're able to see what exactly is being offered. And of course, we also have other information on there as well, just general facts about the Tennessee Board of Regents. And so it's a nice piece that you can print off and you can have. If you're going to the chamber and you need something quickly, there it is. It gives you the information. So the sample that you have is of East Tennessee, and we are finalizing the other ones as of today. And the draft document has been well received by the folks in the training as well as across the state who have looked at it, because it's a one-stop place that they can actually see the information. The next thing I want to talk about is really exciting, and I will tell you that in my 14 years of working at the board office, I'll have to say that this is the first time that I have used every single department in the whole wide world to make some of these things happen. The camaraderie there and the collaboration is unbelievable. And so for this particular item here that we're going to have also on our website, we know that site selectors review our location and our workforce before they even decide to even call anyone in Tennessee. We also didn't have a quick way to get that information. Again, sometimes those calls are coming in over the weekend and they need information on Monday. And so this is something that Jennifer Walkanowski, Fuchs, marketing, Melissa especially, and research with Melissa have pulled together, and this is an interactive form. And what you see on the slide, you're going to be able to choose a document based on the industry sector that you're looking for. So manufacturers, transportation, healthcare, information, construction, and business are all the top sectors. So those are the ones we started with. They'll be able to choose the region of the state that they're looking at, and they may choose the institution if they want to. Once selected, the website will generate a specific fact sheet that will look like this, and you have one in your packet, two-sided. And this will be a nice, beautiful document that they'll be able to have and be able to share. You'll, of course, have the workforce mission in our department. You'll have the sector name. You'll have the region. Then you'll have a standard information about all the different sectors. So that information will be stagnant, but it will talk about the industry and what's going on. The next information is what we will pull from our database. And it will have the number of graduates. It will have the head count. It'll be 1 year late just because of how our data is right now. And so they'll be able to have that. They'll know how many welders graduated. They'll know how many machinists that are in that particular region. The last part of that will be the list of companies and customers that we have worked with, our colleges have worked with, to make sure that, it's always nice sometimes to see who's doing business with the group. Then you'll also have your general information about our facts on both the front and the back as well. You'll also notice on the back of the sheet, you have West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and East Tennessee. One of the requests that we had from the state ECD department and labor was a contact person in each region. And so what we have done in our office is just kind of divvied up. Deanna will work with West Tennessee, Nathan will work with East Tennessee, and I'll work with Middle Tennessee. So those calls will come into us. We'll kind of be the, I guess, the air traffic controller. We'll talk with the folks, find out some information, and then get in touch with the institutions who will be delivering the training and developing the curriculum. But that is just a way to kind of help the ECD folks and labor as they go through. So that's kind of, again, showing you that. And in conclusion, the tools that we've shared with you today are truly what I call the foundation for the statewide system for Tennessee Train, the consult, the design, the implement, and to evaluate. I truly believe that these tools will assist the campuses to meet the needs of businesses and brand the college system of Tennessee's workforce development statewide. And there's so many people to thank, but marketing, research, academics, all of them have played such a part in this, and certainly the staff that I am privileged to work with every single day. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? Regent Apple, as chair of the committee, are you pleased with what you're seeing and hearing?
We're real excited, and Barbara was just talking about, we've been waiting for this for a long time, so we really look like a united front, able to help the state of Tennessee bring businesses here. So kudos, Carol. We're really appreciative of your work.
It's the hard work of everyone there. It's been great. Anything else? It's always a pleasure to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one final and I think fairly brief item here in our informational reporting from Mary Moody.
Yes. In accordance with Article 7 of the board's bylaws, I'm giving you notice that at your next quarterly meeting, we will be taking up an addition to your bylaws that will establish a self-assessment process for the board. The proposed change is intended to ensure compliance with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges requirement for governing boards to define and regularly evaluate its responsibilities and expectations.
Thank you. And that is also serves as a reminder of, since we have started this board assessment process as now required, our surveys that I think everyone received on in our March 13 meeting are due back on April 27. And when Sandra gets back, I'll have her remind everybody and send down an electronic copy too, just in case. So we will see that change in June. Thanks, Mary. Well, Chancellor, that was a very productive and informative hour. Thanks. I know there's a lot of good work going on with you and the team, and we thank you. If everybody's ready, we will segue to action items. And the first being to hear from the Chancellor on the criteria for the presidency at Northeast State.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In your packets last week, you did receive the draft criteria for the next president of Northeast State Community College. The committee members and the chair of that committee will be announced at a later date, along with a timeline for the search for our new president. But at this time, if there are no questions, Madam Chair, I am asking for your approval of the criteria to advertise for that position.
Any questions? If not, a motion to approve the criteria?
So moved.
Regent Burdine, thank you. A second? Second. Second, Regent Markham. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Our second item is presented to us by Vice Chancellor Schulte. Actually, I think, Randy, you have the next three, maybe, on our agenda. And we'll begin by talking about new programs at Volunteer State and programs within our colleges of applied technology.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Chancellor, members of the board, distinguished guests. It's a pleasure to be here and to review with you the new programs that are being presented to you today for approval from our community colleges and our technical colleges. So if I may, I'll just first of all assure you that all of these programs come to you after very thorough work by each campus that's presenting these programs, that they all go through a very rigorous discernment process. They engage members of their advisory committees and communities. They do research on the assessment of workforce needs in those areas, and then put together a fiscal note to determine the feasibility of doing all of these programs. And so it's very exciting to bring these forward to you for your review and assessment. So the let's see, I think I jumped one here. The community college proposal today is, there is just one. It is from Volunteer State Community College, and it is a new program in professional music. It has its objective to develop industry-savvy working musicians for the Tennessee music industry. It merges the strengths of the existing Associate of Fine Arts program in music that has emphases in bluegrass and songwriting. Sort of sounds like Tennessee, doesn't it? And also their Associate of Applied Science program in entertainment media production. This program is designed to prepare students to enter into the burgeoning workforce needs of the world-class Nashville and Tennessee music industry. The program implementations at the Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology are in a total of 16 programs representing 11 different colleges of applied colleges of applied technology. That's why you want us to say technical colleges, because it's a lot easier to say. Okay, so, and again, all of these programs represent arduous work by the members of the faculty, of the administration of the respective technical colleges, and are presented to you for your approval. At the Crossville campus, 3 programs: cosmetology, power sports technology program, and retail, hospitality, and tourism technology. All these programs are expected to fill workforce needs. Power sports technology, that involves what? Those are your outdoor vehicles, your recreational vehicles, and they require a specialized type of technical support that's not always available at your local auto mechanics. So this is a customized program that exists at one other TCAT in the state. We're excited about this growing in the Crossville area. And of course, you're aware that the Crossville area is a very popular resort and retirement community industry, so the development of the retail, hospitality, and tourism technology program is very much fitting with their needs. In Elizabethton, a new cosmetology program to fill a near void for our returning adult students. So we're making a great effort with Reconnects, but outside of one rather expensive private cosmetology school, all of the other programs in that region are offered only in the high schools. So with a projected number of 35 annual openings in the area, we think that this is filling a very important need, and one for our Reconnect students to connect with. At Jackson, the Advanced Manufacturing Production Technology Program, a very innovative program that will actually be offered at the Gibson County Jail in Trenton, Tennessee. And it will result in certification as a certified production technician to meet workforce needs, especially the Tyson Food Plant in Humboldt. And then the Medical Assisting Program, a very high demand, high wage job with 29% growth rate expected in the region and in the state through 2026. So we are very excited that the technical college at Jackson is addressing that need.
Hey, Randy, one quick question. The program with the correctional facility in Gibson County, is that our first entree into working with a correctional facility on a program?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Actually, we have other points of training, both in our technical colleges and in our community colleges.
Okay, thank you.
And we've been recently approached of working with the Department of Correctional Services, of Children's Services, for to do a program in one of their facilities for their incarcerated youth. So it's very much, I think, part of our mission and something that we are very open to as we look to provide ways to transition these citizens into meaningful and purposeful lives.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. In Livingston, a manicuring program with 10% job growth projected, and a power line construction program that is being done in partnership with Jackson County High School. Jackson County school system will be providing the classroom and the outdoor training area as part of this partnership to grow this high demand industry and high wage industry as well. You have to pay people quite a bit of money to climb ladders leaning up against power lines. I can't imagine why, but you do. And it's wonderful that we have this partnership in building this program going forward. In McKenzie, an Information Technology Systems Management program, this is a new program to the system, and it is really kind of a computer information technology program on steroids. So with the rapid growth and complexity of the information technology systems industry, in not only small and large businesses, but especially in healthcare, the demand for this program is high and will continue to grow. In Memphis, a new retail, hospitality, and tourism technology program. You'll see the same titles of these programs because one of the things that we are doing throughout the technical college system is defining a common curricular core for every one of these programs system-wide, so that we have consistency of delivery, we have the same competencies that have been identified. This is a good example of that, and it's also an example of another partnership with our secondary systems. This is a program that will offer dual enrollment with Collierville High School. In Nashville, the Industrial Electric Maintenance Mechatronics Program. We heard earlier about the legislation to support mechatronics in our state, and this is actually mechatronics also has the endorsement of somebody we probably have all heard of before, Bill Gates. At a recent interview, he identified this as one of the must-need industries, and I think it's very exciting that we are able to continue to build and grow this important career pathway. This particular program will be situated in Sumner County, which is just north of us here. In Oneida, a diesel-powered equipment technology program is being developed. It is one of the hot careers for 2024, and as my first job out of high school was working at a truck stop. I hope that they learn how to scrape the bugs off the windshield. That's as far as I got, let's put it that way. Maybe they'll get further, I hope so. But they have very strong support from the local transportation companies, and we are excited about this program for Oneida. In Paris, at the technical college there, an industrial maintenance integration automation technology program. This again is a mechatronics type of program that focuses on maintenance, installation, and repair of systems to operate and run manufacturing and other business operations. And then also a digital processing systems and networking program, which is a program that will build the workforce for the growing area of information technology, digital processing in all platforms and environments. In Pulaski, a patient care technology medical assistant program. This program will lead to certification for certified nursing assistant and also national certification as a patient care and medical assistant. And in Shelbyville, a cosmetology program, which is going to be especially busy the last 2 weeks of August when the celebration is in town. So everybody wants to get their hair done and their horse's hair done. I don't know if that will be a derivative of this particular program or not, but we do customize our curricula to the workforce needs of the region. So I will take it upon myself to ask that question. So members of the board, that is my presentation on the new programs at our community colleges and TCATs. And Madam Chair?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Dr. Schulte? Because of these are new programs, they do require approval of the board. So if there are no further comments or questions, we need a motion to approve. So moved. Thank you, Regent Prescott. Regent Duckett, second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And we're now going to review institutional mission profiles for our community colleges.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. The approval of the institution mission profiles that are in your board material, each one of these represents a description of the institution written by the institution, and the institution mission profiles were a requirement of the Focus Act of 2016. Last year was the first year that they came to the board, that they were submitted, and they require board approval, and after which they will be submitted to the Higher Education Commission for inclusion in their actions at their upcoming board meeting. So these are for specifically the community colleges. There were 10 community colleges that made some slight revision to their institution mission profile. It's not required that they do so, but they review them annually. They make sure that their institution mission profile clearly reflects that the mission of their institution, and they are submitted to you for your consideration, and we recommend approval.
Regent Griscom?
I have not done this, so I will apologize to you. Can we make sure that what are in these statements match up with what we just saw a little bit ago and what we're going to put out on those 2-pagers so that there is consistency? You would hate to have something on what Russ and his team have put together, and then we got these statements and we find that there's either numbers or something that doesn't line up. So it's just asking to make sure that they get, that the two get put side by side so we're saying the same thing.
Point well taken, and we will do so.
If there are no further questions or comments, do you want to make the motion sort of subject to? Okay, so say it, please.
I will move that we approve these subject to doing a look-see at the earlier documents, make sure they match up.
That's a fancy word, look-see. I love it. Do we have a second for the look-see?
I'll second.
Oh, Regent White will second the look-see. Thank you.
Because it's a Chattanooga word.
Exactly, exactly. Any further comments or questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank
you,
you.
Randy. We appreciate you. Thank you. Dr. Lemming is up next to talk about a new policy regarding early post-secondary opportunities. Now, are you going on the trip to Germany in May?
I am.
With our students? Excellent.
Yeah.
Would you watch out for this wild woman down here who I hear is going with you?
I'll try my best.
Oh, Bill, you're going too? Oh, that's terrific. Good. Well, we'll get a report in June, I hope.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Chancellor, and members of the board. Before you today for consideration is a new TBR policy, number 2010005, which establishes an early post-secondary opportunity policy. As we continue to expand opportunities for students in the K-12 system to earn post-secondary credit, it was necessary for us to establish common definitions for practice in the delivery of such courses and models for awarding college credit. This early post-secondary opportunities policy provides guidance for the administration of agreements with local high schools or education agencies and seeks to provide procedures to be followed by TBR institutions to ensure consistency in practice across the system. The policy also provides clarity and expectations of faculty credentials to teach such courses and student eligibility to participate. The early post-secondary opportunities policy is part of your board materials and is now presented to you for your formal review and approval.
Thank you, Dr. Lemming. Questions, comments? If not, a motion to approve? Thank you, Regent Markham. A second? Regent Mitchell, thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we are back to Mary Moody. We have some obsolete TBR policies she's asking our approval on.
As I've discussed with you in recent meetings, we are looking at our law policies to modernize and standardize them. And one of the first steps we took was to identify those policies that are no longer necessary and can be deleted. And so I'm bringing to you 12 policies that were rendered obsolete due to revisions to the bylaws that you made at your last meeting, and 9 policies that are obsolete because they apply only to universities that we no longer govern. So I am requesting that you approve the deletion of these policies from the existing policies.
And as Mary said, this is part of our kind of continued cleanup in the wake of our change and to move forward.
And your materials listed
Yeah.
each one of those policies.
Yeah.
I'm happy to review them all if you'd like to, but I didn't think you would.
I think everyone has done their homework. So with that, if there are no further questions or comments, may we have a motion to approve? Regent Duckett, thank you. A second? Second from Regent Apple, thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Regent Duckett, we need to approve some minutes from your Finance Committee meeting.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, the March 13th special call meeting was the culmination of approximately 3 months of review by the board staff and members of the Finance and Business Operations Committee of fee requests submitted by institutions. This process began in January when staff received 32 non-mandatory fee requests from 6 institutions. Committee members were provided information on all requests received, and telephonic committee meetings were held on February 6th and February 20th, during which these proposals were discussed. After these meetings, staff continued to work with institutions and committee members to clarify fee proposals and to develop recommendations. On March 13th, staff presented its recommendations to the committee. After discussion, the committee acted to unanimously adopt the staff recommendations. I would note that several regents who are not members of the Finance and Business Operations Committee also participated in our meetings and contributed to our deliberations. Before you today for approval is the report of the March 13th, 2018 special call meeting of the Business and Finance Committee that includes non-mandatory fee requests which would become effective fall of 2018. As chair of the Finance and Business Operations Committee, I move for approval of the report of the March 13th, 2018 meeting.
We have a motion to approve. A second? Thank you, Regent Griscom. Any discussion? If not, because this does involve fees and other finance matters, it will require a roll call vote. Mary?
Regent Apple?
Aye.
Regent Autry?
Aye.
Regent Burdine?
Aye.
Regent Duckett?
Aye.
Regent Green?
Aye.
Regent Griscom?
Aye.
Regent Hatch?
Aye.
Regent Markham?
Aye.
Regent McQueen?
Aye.
Regent Mitchell?
Aye.
Regent Prescott?
Aye.
Regent Reynolds? Regent Shockey?
Aye.
Regent Varlin? Regent White?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good work. I know there's a lot of time and thought that goes into this, and to Vice Chancellor Gibbs and the team, we appreciate them as well. I am turning back over now to the Chancellor with 2 building naming requests.
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are always great requests to bring before the board, because usually this means that we have supporters of our system that have stepped forward in grand ways. And so the 2 today that I'd like to bring before you, the first one is for TCAP Memphis building naming at Bartlett, the Haas CNC Technology Center. CNC, as you know, stands for Computer Numeric Control, which is the type of equipment sold by Haas. CNC machining will be the primary competency taught at this facility to support the medical device industry that is so prevalent in the Memphis area. In October of 2016, representatives from TCAP Memphis and the Greater Memphis Medical Device Council were invited to visit the Haas Automation, largest machine tool builder in the Western world, at their company headquarters in Oxnard, California. The purpose of the visit was to compete for the Haas naming rights grant that carried with it a $1 million grant. The project team that went to California to present was so successful in their presentation that before they actually left the facility, they were told that they would be offered the grant. This will be the first in the Southeast region to offer this type of training in the medical device sector. Due to the vision of this project, the funds were awarded very early on. We have already received our first installment on this check. So congratulations again to President Rayner, and also I'd like to thank Ginger Hauser for her work with this group in making this happen, and also Mary Moody, because we did have to do a lot of legwork to get the name correct. So I am pleased to bring this naming request before you for your consideration.
Excellent. Excellent news on all counts. Do we have a motion to approve the naming request? Thank you, Regent Prescott. A second? Thank you, Regent Green. A second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. President Rayner, come forward and tell us a little bit, there you are, tell us a little bit more about this. And you said, as you know, what CNC stands for. I did not know, so I had to get educated by Mr. Rayner earlier today. So thank you, Roland. Good work.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Vice Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to have a few comments. Chancellor, I think you stole my notes. What you just stated is what I was going to say. Basically, 2 words for me. Thank you. I appreciate you all for considering and approving, this naming request. Haas has been a great partner of TCATS as well as community colleges across the great state of Tennessee, and they've done tremendous work in helping us to do our work in the medical device corridor. They've donated millions, we can say now, dollars, to our cause, and they continuously help us to do our great work. And I appreciate you all again for approving this naming right request. Truly appreciate that. I got a couple of people that I want to thank as well. Truly thank the Gene Haas folk, and I want to thank Mr. Gene Haas himself. Also, Michael Garner, Adam Smith, Kathy Lumen, who have been great with helping us with this project. Also want to thank Mr. James King, Nathan Garrett, for their work in this project as well. It was a team partnership, and I just appreciate all that participated. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well done. Regent Prescott.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I just wanted to comment, first of all, in appreciation of President Rayner's hard work, but this is also a real evidence of a partnership in Shelby County with the City of Bartlett, which I think is very, very important. And I know there's just been a whole lot of work that has gone into that. And it's an example of really reaching out and into the county, which sometimes Memphis is not known for doing. So, so I think you deserve a lot of credit for that, and the mayor of Bartlett, who of course is not here, but it's a great partnership.
Thank you, Regent. We appreciate that.
And he actually honored us with his presence when we were at Southwest not too long ago in the joint meeting we had with our Memphis TCAT. So, but it is of enormous significance, as Regent Prescott said, and for that industry in Memphis, as my Memphis colleagues know far better than I. Well done. We'll look forward to hearing more.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you. Chancellor, we have one more.
And I think Regent Varlin, would you like to comment on the Haas Corporation?
I'm sorry.
I had an opportunity to meet the folks from Gene Haas this week when they were recognized at Pellissippi State for their work both at Memphis State and Pellissippi, and they love our state. They could not say enough, the two folks, about how much we do for education in terms of manufacturing, and they love us as partners. It was just wonderful to get to meet them, and particularly the woman that is over the foundation, who has been in the manufacturing industry for 30 years. She was amazing. A lot of times over a foundation you don't find someone that has her qualifications, and she was a leader both by her example and knowledge in this industry and what she is doing for manufacturing education, both as a foundation in terms of awarding money, et cetera, but also just showing that this is a great field to be in, and that people need to really consider sending their kids in this direction or changing their own focus. So they are really something, and it taught me more about what they do and how grateful we are for them, not only in our state, but across our country, because they are doing a fantastic job. So it was my pleasure to be with President Rainier and President Wise. Thank you.
Thank you. Chancellor?
Well, the second naming that I'd like to request approval for is also equally exciting. This is for the Walter State Sevierville campus, the Kyle Ogle Hall. The naming committee at Walter State Community College requests that the fourth building, which will be built on the Sevierville campus, be named Kyle Ogle Hall, in honor of Mrs. Emily B. Kyle and Mrs. Lyndon N. Ogle. Both of these women have been instrumental in promoting the positive impact that higher education makes in a community. They have served on countless community boards and committees, served on state committees, and have been extremely loyal to Walter State Community College. Ms. Kyle served on the Walter State Sevier County Development Council and has been a part of the Walter State Foundation Board of Trustees for 10 years. Ms. Ogle has been a member of the Walter State Foundation Board of Trustees for 11 years and served as foundation president from 2012 to 2014. These women are premier examples of leaders and philanthropists. Specifically, Ms. Ogle and Ms. Kyle have contributed their resources to benefit the Sevier County campus over the past several years. Ms. Kyle led the way to renovate the library with her personal donations and influence within the community. Her efforts doubled the size of the library and added room for a tutoring lab. Mrs. Ogle gave and solicited funds for the Culinary Arts Baking Kitchen, and together these women have either donated or secured funds totaling well over $2.1 million to benefit Walter State faculty, staff, and students. I'm very pleased to bring this naming request before you today.
Thank you very much. Any comments, questions? If not, Regent Varlin.
I just want to say these families in this community are unbelievable. If you never visited the Walter State Sevierville campus, it is one of the best partnerships between government and our schools that I've ever seen, both the county, and they have the city of Maryville, Sevierville, and all of it. It's unbelievable how they come together and support. They have the most amazing campus. They are always there supporting, and these ladies are an example of why Walter State has been able to grow in the way that it has in Sevier County, because it is just unbelievable.
Oh, that is great insight. May I take that as a motion to approve this naming? Thank you. Thank you, Regent Varlin. A second? Second. Thank you, Regent Markham. If there's not any further discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Dr. Mixa, come up and talk to us about this great opportunity and these two amazing individuals who've done so much for Walters State.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and thank you very much for approving this. I also brought with me Mark Hurst, or he is back a little bit here. He is our Vice President of Administration and also the CFO of our foundation, and has a lot more history with Linda and Emily. But I think the Chancellor did a great job of summarizing what these two women have done for our institution. They do a great job. I've been at the institution for about a year and a half, and anything that I have needed in terms of getting connected with the community or in terms of working with fundraising, these two females, these two women have stepped up to the plate and done a great job for us. They are wonderful for the institution, and we love having them there, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well done. Keep up the good work. Thank you. It is now time to offer a resolution of appreciation for Dr. Lynn Kreider, who headed our TCAT at Murfreesboro and who retired, I think, effective March 1 or thereabouts.
Yes, ma'am.
My understanding is that Lynn and his wife are staying in the area, which is great, and will continue to be involved in the community. And with that, Regent Green, would you be so kind as to read us the resolution of appreciation?
Absolutely. Is Dr. Kreider still here?
He is not.
I think I saw him earlier, maybe. Okay.
He was unable to be with us this afternoon for the meeting.
Absolutely. This says, whereas Lynn Kreider, as a native of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and served 20 years in the United States Air Force, completed a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering from Southern Illinois University, received his master's degree in human resource management, and completed his doctorate in higher education leadership and innovation from Wilmington University. And whereas he taught at Delaware Technical Community College as an industrial training instructor and advanced up the academic ranks to a chair of the college's Department of Engineering. And in 1997, Dr. Kreider moved to Jackson State Community College in Jackson, Tennessee, to lead the college's technology, technical, and professional studies division at its dean. Whereas in 2001, he built a new college from the ground up in Monroe, Louisiana, after accepting the position of founding chancellor of Louisiana Delta Community College. Whereas his next challenge was serving as president of Colby Community College in Kansas, a full-service college with residence halls, sports teams, a working farm, and its own elected board of trustees. Whereas he came to the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Murfreesboro in 2012, and under his leadership, the college completed its new $35,160,000 square foot Smyrna campus and Nissan Training Center, a partnership among the Tennessee Board of Regents, a State of Tennessee, and Nissan North America. During his tenure, the college doubled its enrollment during the last 6 years and secured a managed over $3 million in federal grants. Whereas he was a member of the Middle Tennessee Workforce Development Board, the Tennessee Board of Regents President's Subcouncil, the Rutherford County Technological Community, and Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce. Whereas he demonstrated his commitment to students by serving as a volunteer Tennessee Promise mentor. Whereas he shall be missed by the colleagues, faculty, staff, students, and alumni of the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Murfreesboro, community leaders, and the Tennessee Board of Regents and its staff. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Tennessee Board of Regents wish to recognize the outstanding career of Dr. Lynn Kreider, over 25 years of dedicated higher education, and express appreciation for his superb leadership.
Regent Green, will you offer that as a motion?
Absolutely.
Dr. Kreider, and a second? Second. Thank you, Regent Markham. A second. Any other comments? If not, we thank you, Dr. Kreider, and we will move to approve. Please say aye for this resolution to thank Lynn for his service.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Of course not. So thank you, Dr. Kreider. We miss you today. We are grateful for your service, and we wish you all the best in the coming months and years. Chancellor, any closing comments?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Nashville State for their hospitality in hosting us today. You've done an outstanding job in pulling this together, and we are most grateful for that. But to the board members and to those in the audience, I hope today that you heard somewhat of a theme in the presentations that were given, and that is in our efforts and our mission in student success and workforce development, what we hope we are now bringing to you is a clarity and a standardization across our system. And so thank y'all for being here today and for listening to our presentations.
Absolutely. Well said. I like that. I like that. Let me just mention a couple of things before we close. We have two great faculty regents right now in Bill Summons and Larry Autry, and we appreciate their contributions. I wanted folks to be aware in that continuing tradition of excellent faculty regents. I noticed in the Pellissippi annual report that we probably all just received at home, one of our former regents, Alex Fitzner, was honored as the outstanding full-time faculty member this year at Pellissippi State. So I know we are not surprised by that at all, but did just want to mention that and extend our congratulations. Also, before you, your surveys for this quarterly meeting, if you'll take a moment before we head out, and we'll pick these back up and return them to Sanja, and always appreciate your feedback. In June, we will be headed to East Tennessee, to Cleveland State for our quarterly meeting on June 21 and 22. So look forward to our summer session. And once again, just to underscore the Chancellor's words, it may be a dreary day outside today in Nashville, but it is sunny here at Nashville State. So we thank you. We thank you very, very much. If there is nothing else to come before the board, let me mention to our folks who are departing for West and East, if you would meet in the area where we had lunch, your transportation will be waiting. So on that note, I hope the Easter Bunny finds you, and I hope everyone has a very safe journey home. Thank you. We are adjourned.